So now we're going to learn a term called a monomial, and a monomial is a term, and this is a one-term expression that is either a number or a product of a constant and one or more variables raised to whole numbers. And whole numbers, remember, are 0, 1, 2, etc. And they're raised to whole number exponents. So for example, these are examples of monomials: 2, -2, -2x squared, y cubed, 1/2 x cubed, yz squared. This is not a monomial because this has x raised to a negative power. Okay? So things that we can do with monomials are we can multiply them. So here is an example, and what you would see is it might either say perform the operation or simplify or multiply the monomials. So here is one monomial times another monomial, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put similar terms together. So the 2 times the 4, I can rearrange this by using commutative property in the x squared times the x cubed. Well, 2 times 4 gives me 8, and x squared times x cubed, well, bases are the same. I'm going to add the exponents when I'm multiplying the same basis. So that gave me 8x to the 5th. Here is another example. 3xy squared, parentheses around that, parentheses, 2x squared y cubed. I'm going to go the 3 times the 2, the x times the x squared, the y squared times the y cubed. 3 times 2 gives me 6, x times x squared. Well, this is the same as saying x to the first. So just remember, if you just have 1, that's a common mistake. Students forget to make that into a 1. So that's x to the 1 plus 2 and y to the 2 plus 3. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3 and 2 plus 3 gives me 5. So there's my answer. Now we can also divide monomials. And when we divide monomials, they look like this. 10x cubed divided by 5x squared. I'm going to take the 10 and divide it by the 5. I'm going to take the x cubed and divide it by the x squared. Well, 10 divided by 5 gives me 2. X cubed divided by x squared, you can subtract 3 minus 2 gives me 1, so that just leaves me with an x. And here we have another one. 12 divided by 4. The x cubed will be divided by x squared, and the y squared will be divided by y. So I'm left with 3xy. Now let's take a look at some more examples. And in these examples, this is a monomial. This is actually called a trinomial because it has 3 terms. And so we're taking a monomial and we are multiplying it to a trinomial, a 3-term. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my distributive property. And I'm going to take this 2x cubed y, the negative 2x cubed y, and I'm going to multiply that to each piece here. Okay? And so when I do that, I get negative 2x cubed y times 4x squared plus negative 2x cubed y times 2xy and plus negative 2x cubed y times 1. So I'm taking this and multiplying it to each term in the trinomial. And when I do that, negative 2 times 4 gives me negative 8. X cubed times x squared, I'm going to add the exponent so I get x to the 5th. Y, there isn't another y here, so it just stays as y. Here, negative 2 times 2 gives me negative 4. X cubed times x gives me x to the 4th, because this is like saying x to the 1st, and I add the exponents. Y times y gives me y squared. Then I have negative 2x cubed y times 1. That just gives me negative 2x cubed y. Now we can also look at division, and this is called a binomial because it has 2 terms. And terms are separated by an addition or subtraction sign. So here's one term, there's another term. So this is called a binomial because it has 2 terms, and it is being divided by a monomial, 1 term. And so looking at this example, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take and I'm going to separate this so that I take that and I divide it right here. And then I'm also going to take it and separate that to divide. And when I do that, I now have a monomial divided by a monomial, and here's a monomial divided by a monomial. So 6 divided by 2 gives me 3, and x cubed divided by x squared gives me x. Y to the 4th divided by y cubed gives me y. 12 divided by 2 gives me 6. X squared and x squared, well, x squared divided by x squared is just 1, so those will cancel each other out. And y to the 6 divided by y cubed, 6 minus 3 gives me 3, so I have y cubed. Now I'm left with a binomial here. I look to see if I can combine these, and I cannot. They're not the same type of terms.